I'm Robert Dorfman, a trustee of the Jewish Community of Hong Kong and currently serving as chairman of the Jewish Community Center's board. Assembled on the stage this evening are some distinguished international Jewish leaders and representatives of the congregations that are affiliated with the Jewish Community Center. I'd like to take a moment to introduce them. From London, we are honored to have with us the Chief Rabbi, Dr. Jonathan Sachs. We also have with us from London the Chairman of Jewish Continuity, Dr. Michael Sinclair. Symbolizing the strong links that we have as a community with the State of Israel, the Consul General of the State of Israel, Zohar Raz. Lady Kaduri is with us, representing the widely respected Kaduri family. Mr. Michael Green, Chairman of the Incorporated Trustees of the Jewish Community of Hong Kong. And representing the three congregations that make up our community, Mrs. Hannah Zion representing Chabad Lubavitch, Mr. Eric Baer representing the Ohel Leah congregation, and Mr. Bob Green representing the United Jewish Congregation. This Jewish Community Center is the result of 15 years of planning and is the fulfillment of Lord Kaduri's vision of a center serving all Jews in Hong Kong. I'd like to pay particular tribute to my fellow trustee, William Mokata, who has played such a crucial role in the development, planning, and negotiations that have brought us to this day. Willie, where are you? Over here. Well done. In a few days, we'll begin the first Jewish Arts Festival in Hong Kong, in which some of the Jewish world's top talent will be performing. We've also instituted a Scholar-in-Residence program, and Professor Aaron Shai of Tel Aviv University's History and East Asia Department will arrive in Hong Kong in mid-November to deliver a series of lectures as our first visiting professor. We're also delighted that Jody Hirsch will be joining us at the end of the year to take up his appointment as the JCC's program director. Welcome, Jody. None of this would have been possible without the dedicated commitments of our board and its subcommittees. I feel extremely privileged to serve alongside these very talented and dedicated, community-spirited individuals. I would also like to recognize the superb work of the various Jewish club committees over the past few years, whose input was so vital in the preparation of this Jewish Community Center. Thank you to all of you. In addition, we have had the extremely able support of many fine professionals. Our management here at the JCC, headed by Mildred Houston, our architects, building consultants, and of course our redevelopment partner, Swire Properties. Thank you to all of you for the part you played in bringing us to this very special moment. I'd also like to recognize the generosity of the Seagram Corporation, who very kindly have provided much of the refreshments for all our opening activities. Thank you very much. They, I see, got the biggest hand. This is an inclusive Jewish community center. It is here to serve the cultural, educational, and social needs of all Jews living in Hong Kong. Our mission is to be the center of Jewish life here in Hong Kong and the region, and we will strive to play our part as a leading international center for world Jewry. Bricks and mortar do not make a Jewish community. We have some of the finest bricks and mortar around, but it's people who make a Jewish community. Let's go forward together as we enter this most exciting new era in the history of our community. Your support over the months and years ahead will be crucial to our success. Thank you. I'd now like to call upon Mr. Michael Green, Chairman of the Incorporated Trustees of the Jewish Community of Hong Kong, to address us. Michael?
Thank you very much, Robert. Lady Kadoorie, Chief Rabbi, Consul General Raz, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks a major milestone in the history of Hong Kong's Jewish community. We're gathered here to inaugurate our new Jewish Community Center, the third to have been built on these grounds. The first, where my father told me he and his brothers played as small boys, was built at the beginning of this century. That building was destroyed during the Second World War, and the second community center, which many of us here will fondly remember, was built in 1949. The new Jewish Community Center is by far the grandest and will offer the members of our three congregations a wide range of facilities built in the 50,000 square feet podium of the two tower blocks above. This project has been a major undertaking, initiated by the late Lord Kadoorie, with much of the burden carried by William McCanter. It serves as a public statement of the Jewish community's commitment to Hong Kong during these transitional years and for the future. We as a community have flourished in Hong Kong, deriving much benefit, and I believe making a substantial contribution. It is our fervent hope that this community center will be here for many generations of our children and for all time. Before proceeding further, I think it would be interesting to cover a small part of the history of the Jews in China and in Hong Kong. Our links with China go back a very long way to the early Middle Eastern traders who followed the caravan routes into Central Asia along the Silk Road. Records show that in the year 1163, a synagogue was built in the Song Dynasty capital of Kaifeng, probably by a community of Persian Jews. This formalized our presence in China, marking the beginning of a long and beneficial relationship, something which I can attest to with 4 generations of my own family having lived in China. There are many similarities between Chinese and Jewish family values, and perhaps this is the reason that the Jews in China integrated so comfortably and lived there in peace and harmony for so many centuries. The Jewish community in Hong Kong is relatively young, with the first Jews arriving in the 1840s. The majority were Sephardi traders from British India, following the flag to trade in the newly established colony. As business flourished, the Jewish community grew, and it is fascinating to look back over what few records remain of those early days, and to recognize names that are still part of our community today: the Sassoons, Eliases, Ezras, Gabbes, and Kadoories, and of course the Greens. By 1905, after the O'Hare Synagogue had been built by Jacob Sassoon on land gifted to the Jewish community by Jacob and his brothers, the community had grown large enough to support a recreation club. This first community center was a modest single room built in the grounds of the synagogue, and later extended by Sir Eli Kadoorie at his own expense. It was here the Jews of every nationality gathered as one happy family to socialize, to play games, and to keep in touch with one another, a tradition that has lasted for nearly 9 decades. Like Hong Kong, the Jewish community has always represented the full spectrum of nationalities and of Jewish religious denominations, and this has made a center, common to all of us, an essential institution. To paraphrase from Albert Raymond's speech made at the inauguration of the Second Jewish Club in 1949, the community should cherish this center and work for its continued well-being, safeguarding and maintaining its past record, and in due course handing it down to the younger people who will follow. I firmly believe, as he did, that ours is a unique undertaking, and one that with tolerance and understanding will perpetuate the traditions of those who went before us and nurture a future for our children. I now have very great pleasure in calling upon Lady Kadoorie, who represents 2 families with historic ties to our Jewish community in Hong Kong, the Kadoories and her own family, the Gabbes, to unveil a commemorative plaque which will later be placed in the entrance of the Community Center to record this historic day. Lady Kaduri.
This plaque was graciously unveiled by the Lady Kaduri on the occasion of the opening of the Jewish Community Center of Hong Kong, the 23rd of October 1995, 29th Tishri 5756. Could I now ask Johanna Frommer to come forward, please, and present a bouquet to Lady Kaduri.
We are honored and delighted to have with us the Chief Rabbi of Great Britain and the Commonwealth, Dr. Jonathan Sacks and his wife Elaine, who have come to Hong Kong especially for this occasion. The Chief Rabbi has agreed to say a few words and to fix the mezuzah on the entrance of this room. Chief Rabbi.
Rabbanim, ladies and gentlemen, it was a long way, but it was worth it. It is a truly thrilling sensation to be able to be part of this simcha, this celebration of the Hong Kong Jewish community, and how delighted I am to see so many of you here to celebrate this occasion. And of course, I extend, on behalf of the community, a special welcome to our Chinese guests this evening, and say to them, I hope, Wan Ying, Liang Lei, Xing Hua Dei, Wei Bin. While you're trying to work out what that means, let me say this. This evening is a very special moment in the Jewish calendar, Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of a new month, a new section of the Jewish calendar. And this is surely a new moment, a new opening of a new chapter in the history of this Hong Kong Jewish community that, as Michael Green has explained, goes back some 150 years. The Hong Kong Jewish community has always been loyal to the two great imperatives of Jewish life. Ve'hei bracha, being faithful to our own traditions, and v'nivruchu v'cha kol mishpachot ha'adama, being a blessing to others and contributing to the life of the society around us. This new community center is vastly going to expand the range and dynamic of Jewish life here in Hong Kong. And it testifies to three things. The confidence of this community in the future of Hong Kong, the continuity and enrichment of Jewish life, and above all, the importance of community in Jewish life. You know, community matters in Jewish life. It's impossible to be alone as a Jew. I actually have a principle which I call Sax's Law, which says that when a Jew tries, as we do sometimes, you know, to just get away from all other Jews, and you try and find a place where no Jew can possibly be, and you always find that that place is full of all the Jews who are trying to get away from all the others. Like it or not, we always form communities. And why is it? I believe the reason is this, that we have always treasured as Jews as the most precious of all our belongings, the things that we have more of, the more we give away. You know, physical possessions, if you give them to somebody else, you have less for yourself. But spiritual possessions, if you give them to somebody else, you have more of them yourself. Friendship, warmth, gemilat chasadim, acts of kindness. The more you give, the more you receive. What we truly own as Jews is what we share with others. And that's why community matters. I want to pay tribute to every person who played any part in the creation of this magnificent building, to the trustees, to Lady Kaduri, and to the memory of her late husband, to William Akata, and all the others, and say this. You know, the Torah says that when the first great Jewish center was created, God said, "V'yikchu li truma," take for me a contribution. The Hebrew is very strange because you give a contribution, you don't take one. But the truth is, when it comes to a project like this, for the benefit of all Jews, the more you give, the more you take. And I hope everyone who had a share in this community will feel a sense of pride and achievement this evening. We are about to consecrate this building in the traditional Jewish manner by fixing a mezuzah to the door. In this mezuzah, which I hope somebody has, yes, somebody has, are, as you know, written, handwritten on parchment, the first two paragraphs of the Shema, the great declaration of our faith as Jews. And what we say by fixing the mezuzah to this building and thus consecrating it is that that spirit of Judaism, inscribed on that scroll, should fill this building and the hearts of all who enter it. May everyone who uses this for generations to come feel inspired, uplifted, and proud to be part of this community.
The waiters, please make sure that everybody has a glass of champagne. We're going to be doing a little bit of toasting later I'd now like to call upon the Consul General of the State of Israel, who will read a message from the government of Israel. Consul General.
Lady Kaduri, the Kaduri family, Chief Rabbi, members of the Jewish community, Israeli fellows, distinguished guests, and especially our friends from the Chinese community of Hong Kong. I have the honor and the pleasure to convey to you the message, a message which I received from Israel. Dear friend, in the development of Far Eastern trade and diplomatic relations over the past decades, Hong Kong has proven to be Israel's gateway into Asia and highway into China. The Jewish community, with its distinguished history and remarkable record of achievements, has made its own very special contribution to Israel's acceptance by the Asian community. The establishment of the new Jewish Cultural Center in Hong Kong will enrich Jewish communal life in the entire region, and at the same time will surely further enrich the pluralistic mosaic of the great Chinese host culture. On this memorable occasion, at the inauguration of the new center, we look forward to deepening the inner strengths and heritage of the Jewish community here in Hong Kong, and to further development of its close bonds with Israel and its people. Mazal Tov. Signed, Yitzhak Rabin, Prime Minister of Israel. I thank you.
all of you have a glass. If not, I will give you a moment to get one. I'd now like to call upon Dr. Michael Sinclair, Chairman of Jewish Continuity, to propose a toast to the Jewish community of Hong Kong. Dr. Sinclair.
Chief Rabbi, Lady Kaduri, Consul General Raz, Rabbanim, ladies and gentlemen, you might think that the choice of this particular day for this event was related to the construction and the Chief Rabbi's diary, but of course we believe truly that nothing happens by accident. As you heard, today is in the Jewish calendar the 29th day of Tishri, and our new day of the 30th of Tishri starts tonight, and tomorrow is the first day of Cheshvan. And we've heard from Michael of the illustrious past of this community and its Sephardi roots. And so it's fitting that the 29th day of Tishri is the anniversary of the death of that great Sephardi leader, Don Isaac Abarbanel, who was a biblical scholar and leader of the Sephardi community and who died in 1508. And the 30th of Tishri also is a momentous day, the day that starts tonight, because on that day in 1958, the foundation stone of the Knesset was laid, the Parliament building in Jerusalem. And tomorrow, the first day of Cheshvan, significantly, according to the Talmud in Bava Metzia, page 106b, is the start of the sowing season, signifying the next generation and future generations. So it's a very auspicious day that we're meeting here today, and I believe it's by no accident. It's my very great honor to propose the toast of the Jewish community of Hong Kong and many successful years, future generations of contribution to the Jewish world internationally and to the wider community. The toast is the Jewish community of Hong Kong.
Before we let you all get back to socializing, I'd just like to remind you of a couple of points. All of you would have received a bookmarker that entitles you to a book. The book is called A Vision Fulfilled. It's a history of the Jewish community of Hong Kong. It's a beautiful book, and it's available to you at the exit when you leave. Just give in your bookmarker and you get a book. So please take it with you. It was produced specially for this occasion, and I hope you will find a place for it in your home and keep it always. The second point I'd like to mention is that there's an exhibit of the history of the Jewish community, which is on display at level 3. No, sorry, it's on the first floor. We are on level 3. It's on the first floor, so you go up 2 or 3 floors and you'll find it. Third point, we are running a Jewish Arts Festival that begins at the beginning of November, and also on Saturday night, the entire community is able to attend an event here called Celebrate. Celebrate will be one massive party taking place on all floors of the community center. Lots of different things going on. It's something that you shouldn't miss. Coincidentally, tickets are on sale for that at the ground floor entrance and reception. So please do stop by and buy your tickets there before you go tonight. We very much look forward to seeing you there on October 28th. That's Saturday. Thank you very much for being with us. I hope you'll stay around. We have lots of food and lots of drink. Please stay and enjoy yourself. Thanks for being here tonight.